Well, it is morning here, so good morning from the Max Life. I've had a lot of questions recently about our schedules and what that looks like. So today I'm going to talk to y'all a little bit about how we do things here on the farm. So in my opinion, I do feel like scheduling is very crucial for time management. I don't have as rigid of a schedule as I would like, and today we are kind of busy, which is why I'm talking to y'all on the move today. I don't have the time today to sit down and just talk to y'all, so I'm going to be talking to y'all while I work. What I'm doing right now is coming out to water, and upon looking for the end my sprayer nozzle, I discovered a problem in our shop, which is where we were yesterday. We haven't talked to y'all a whole lot about this, but I'm just going to show you what will be Aiden's next project right in here. We are in the process of learning how to set up our hydroponics, aquaponics. Our tilapia is still over here. We have duckweed here that we're growing off for them. In the meantime, we're in the process of setting up a place over here. This will be for perch. Now this we just set up yesterday, and as you can see, we have a problem. I found that the water is leaking from right here. So in our wonderful learning experience, that will be something that we will have to work on and get done as soon as possible to take care of this, because I'm walking in water. So we're gonna go up right now before we get started, and I'm gonna have Aiden come take a look at that before I start watering. Now, one of the things that I wanted to talk to y'all about was different seasons look different for us. So right now I'm in my not as early morning season. School time kind of looks like this for us. We get up in the mornings, Colby goes out and does the feeding and the watering, the milking. He gets dressed and goes to work. Afterwards, we have breakfast. Everybody gets dressed. We start our school work, which usually takes about 4 hours, depending on the subjects that we cover for the day, testing and that type of thing. After school, we have lunch. Everybody helps with lunch. We all fix lunch together, clean up together. Usually during the fall semester, which is August, September, October, November, if I still have anything coming in from the garden, I'm still processing, watering, harvesting, stuff like that. I do that after lunch, in between activities. The kids are involved with a couple of activities. We do piano, we do cross country, a couple of other things that we do in the afternoon with our homeschool group. Then in the middle of prepping for lunch, I also prep for supper, or harvesting and bringing in, I prep for supper as well, because if I don't, then we find ourselves trying to scramble up something to eat really late at night, and I really don't like to do that. So in between those times, I try to prep for supper. Once we get our activities done, we come back home, tie up any loose ends on the fall. If we still have daylight, if the time has changed, you know, it is what it is. We have supper, we clean up together, and then the kids pretty much hit the bed. Hey, I need you to come down here and look at this aquaponics that we set up yesterday. Okay, so Aiden's gonna come take a look at that for me. Usually our winter months are our most downtime farm wise. Now what I mean by that is we're kicking off into the holidays, so even though it may slow down on the farm a little bit, it doesn't really slow down in life. That's just life, right? Because we have holidays and stuff kicking off. lots of group events with our homeschool group. We are involved in activities, whether it's giving back to the community or just coming together for an event for our kids to be able to fellowship and have time together. Different parties and stuff like that for the kids. Then we have family time, family get-togethers, work-related events that we're involved in, and church events that we're involved in as well. So when we're looking at Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, that season really is just as busy for us. Then you blink and it's spring. So spring is pretty much the same as the fall as far as scheduling goes. Outside chores are done, breakfast, school. Then Colby's, like I said, he's at work. He kind of works an 8 to 5 job. There are days that he has off that he's able to be home with us. But for the most part, I try to use those in between hours after lunch and before it gets dark, or we have other activities to do to get those extra outside chores done, whether it's something that needs to be watered, something that needs to be harvested, something that needs to be moved. Our helper that you just saw walk by also helps do things like set up nets, move water buckets, feed troughs and stuff like that, moving animals, which we usually don't tackle without Colby. Some of the things that would really help his dad out that sometimes we just can't do it all, teaching our kids chores and responsibilities even at a young age. We believe not only does it help build their character, it teaches them responsibility, which I really feel like many kids lack today because parents are so adamant and prone to doing things for children, and when they grow up and get into the world, they do not know how to cope with the responsibilities given to them because they've never really been assigned responsibilities, and it causes a lot of stress and anxiety when, if they've been trained from when they're little and they're growing, they know how to carry out responsibility, they can take on these tasks. They learn life skills and key factors even when they're little, so that when they're older and they're giving an adult responsibility, they're not in shock because they don't know how to deal with responsibility. So we believe also in teaching our children at a young age. They are required from inside chores and outside chores to help around the farm when they are at an age that we deem responsible and they're mature. That has differed for each child because each child is different. So when we see a child is capable of doing something and it helps us out, then we pass those responsibilities on to our younger children, and some of those include feeding and watering the dogs, getting eggs. Sometimes it is watering for us. My older girls are about to start learning the bread making skills because I have one that is getting close to a teenager, and I definitely feel that she can do that. So passing on those responsibilities really helps us out. It helps us to be able to accomplish a lot in a short amount of time, and it's teaching such crucial skills to our children at a very young age. Now, really, right when we get done with school is when things look a little bit different for us, because right when we get done with school, there's not a lot of the garden stuff coming in. It is a lot more seed starts, watering, that type thing, planting, with some weeding, and it's not real hot right around that season. So usually we spend that time sleeping in. That's kind of like our summer break. We spend that time sleeping in. We use that time to play games, play catch up in the house. I go through the attic and clean out. That's kind of like my spring cleaning time. We declutter, repaint if I need to repaint things. That's kind of the time that I use before really the garden kicks off. We get up in the mornings. It's usually 8:30, just for a couple of weeks. We have breakfast, then we maneuver to the outside things for a couple of hours. It usually doesn't take too terribly long because we're just doing things like watering, maybe moving some animals. When full summer comes, things start to look a little bit more different. because picking time, that is not something you want to do in the middle of the day in Mississippi. So that is when our early mornings start back. It is almost that time for us when our peas and beans get to be done. I will go out early in the morning and start picking those things and bringing them in and shelling them. Now the difference really with when a lot of the garden stuff starts coming in is trying to juggle inside chores as well. Update on the pond out there. Aiden said it was a little bit too much pressure and it was being basically pushed out, so he turned the pressure down, which that's a really good thing. So what my schedule really looks like in the mid-summer time for us is early morning picking. I do the processing and stuff through the day. If I decide to can the same day, it's literally an all-day thing. So what I have found is juggling the chores inside with the outside chores.
Mama, we're catching this all on record.
You like when friends tell you that? Picking days that I will say I'm going to do laundry on this day, and this day. I will clean bathrooms on this day, and this day. I will do going outside to weed on this day of the week. Has really been very beneficial for me to try to keep it all up. I say, I know I'm going to go out on this day. I've got to fertilize these areas. We need to clean out the rabbit pens on this day. Sometimes if we get busy and just can't get around to it, because sometimes things just happen, we play catch up on other days and just kind of make it work. If we know that rabbit pen is overflowing and we just cannot get to it on the day that we needed to go out, we'll catch it the next day. We know it's full, we'll get to it and get it done. The thing that I am probably most guilty of is try not to stress out about the things, because I really do want them to all be done. I want them to all be done in one day, but it just doesn't happen like that. Sometimes instead of setting on daily schedules to say, I'm going to come out and up pot this day, what I'll do is if I come outside to water like I am now and I see something that really needs to be up potted, I'll do it that day. I'll do it right then. Sometimes it's just as simple as doing maybe a couple of pots throughout the week on different days to get them all until I get them all done. One thing that I have learned is it's not really as much about having a perfect schedule as it is having a functional schedule. If you're making progress, you're getting your stuff done that needs to be done in a functional way, a practical way, you're doing good. I told y'all, I do tend to sometimes get overly stressed knowing that there's so much that has to be done and I want to do it all one day and get it over with. But I have tried to learn to section different days off, do different things on different days. It doesn't have to be a perfect schedule. It just has to be a functional schedule. And you know, really different times, different seasons is going to give you different things, different opportunities, different situations. And we just kind of have to learn to adjust with those. I'm pulling a water hose, y'all, all the way to the front of the house. But those different times, those different seasons, those different moments in life will all present us different opportunities. We just need to be willing to say that we're going to work through it. We're going to put on our boots. We're still going to go outside. We're still going to do all of the things required. If it's not enjoyable, why do it? Sometimes it's not always fun, but we do need to remember the joy of it. Bringing a water hose to the front of the house every couple of days to water these beautiful herbs, but knowing that I have the opportunity and the access to use them really whenever I want. So sometimes when your days seem hard, or you just wake up and say, I don't even know where to start today, because I have done that before, just remember why you're doing it, what you're doing it for, why you're doing it. Sometimes perspective, just remembering our perspective changes things for the whole day. You know, we're all different people with different walks of life. Your schedule's not gonna look like my schedule, and my schedule's not gonna look like your schedule. But that was a little bit of day in the life of juggling laundry, making new things like homemade root beer, watering your plants, even cooking from scratch, working inside, working outside, harvesting, taking care of pest issues, admiring the beneficial bugs, all of the things in between. It's all done with a beautiful purpose, and sometimes we just need to be reminded of that. So y'all don't forget what it's all about. Keep it in the back of your head, even on frustrating and flustering days. Remember who we're working for, remember why we're doing it. Serving our families in itself is bringing a joy to ourselves and to the Lord. Hope y'all have a blessed and wonderful week. Happy homesteading, y'all.